So I'm scrolling through the Shonen Jump app a few weeks ago, and the first thing to know is that I'm someone who drastically prefers reading physical to digital. It's more of that switching off your brain kind of thing. Digital is work for me, analog is me chilling out. But I've noticed there's quite a few titles that just haven't been printed physically that looked interesting and were on the app. And considering it's only, what, £2 a month, I figured I'd give it a shot. While scrolling through, I came across a title called Time Paradox Ghostwriter. It is only 14 chapters, didn't have an English release, physically that is, although oddly it does have a German and a French release, and it piqued my interest. To say it's a fusion of Bakuman and Steins would both be very fitting and somewhat of an overstatement. Time Paradox Ghostwriter sees a struggling comic book artist attempt to get their shot in Weekly Shonen Jump. Just as he's about to give up, lightning strikes his microwave, turning it into a one-way time machine. Each week, issues of Shonen Jump from 10 years in the future arrive in Sasaki's apartment. Within those issues, Sasaki reads a new and brilliant story entitled White Knight by Itsuki Aino. Originally thinking he's hallucinating, after being unable to find where he put that first issue, he recreates what he read and submits it as his own work. White Knight becomes a smash hit, even as a one-shot chapter, leading to Sasaki being serialized. However, the currently 17-year-old Itsuki Aino applies to become his assistant. Sasaki is now racked with guilt, essentially plagiarizing the work of his assistant. While production continues, the future Shonen Jump issues suddenly stop arriving, with the last one stating that Itsuki Aino has passed away due to exhaustion. Now Sasaki must find a way to save Atsuki's life without crushing her dreams. The series is very short, it only contains 14 chapters due to an early cancellation. This is most likely due to a certain plot point of, well, plagiarism by the main character, and a lack of consequences on his part. While there are some lessons that he does learn along the way, it's hard to overlook the central plot point that is consequence-free plagiarism. The overall writing, despite this plot point, is well done given the natural feeling of the dialogue, and particularly the framing devices. Kenji Ichima writes the characters clearly and distinctively, particularly giving characters a clear personality in just a few words. This is particularly true with the side characters, such as the assistants and the editors. Sunihiro Date's artwork is clean and leads a dynamic flair to the act of drawing. Characters' reactions and experiences of reading comics are clearly shown, immersing the reader in the character's emotions. Scott McCloud once noted that manga's use of indexical lines puts the reader in the driver's seat. This is something that can clearly be seen early on, particularly with people's reactions to White Knight. Both the writer and the artist display a clear focus on the concept of a character having stories that only they can produce. This is stated a few times throughout the series, but is most clearly pointed out in the first chapter, when Sasaki's editor rejects his work yet again. Quote, "A character being quirky and a character being interesting are two separate things. And for one thing, these characters aren't even that quirky. They're all completely typical. I've seen these characters a million times. I can tell that you made them look different, but they feel too familiar. The effects just backfire. You have to make them characters that the reader's never seen before. Anyone can draw these characters. I could draw them. Editors don't need stuff we can make ourselves. We want artists with a creative vision. A style that only they can create. Do you have anything like that? Some message you want to tell people? Something that you think only you can draw?" These words echo through the series, particularly when it comes to Sasaki's confidence in his artwork. In Sasaki's first few drafts, he desperately tries to copy the future artwork of Itsuki. However, he finds himself dissatisfied with every attempt, even putting his own deadline at risk. His assistants even express frustration given his artwork appears well done to them. However, the reinforcement of something that you think only you can draw leads him to redraw the characters in his own art style. The editors, assistants, and readers find this far more genuine, as he's not just slavishly imitating another's work, but putting his own passion and heart into it. This message would hit home far harder, however, if the central story he is creating wasn't the result of plagiarism. What it can be praised for is using the medium's connection to time very well. Towards the story's end, Sasaki finds himself stuck in a state of frozen time in which he can work in peace. The reader is treated to several panels highlighting the stillness of life, a leaf falling to the ground, a bird mid-flight. Finally, it settles on 2 panels of a clock that are unchanging, signifying that seconds are not passing, though Sasaki is still able to move and work, stating, "Okay, time to draw." While the nature of a comic means that the story is read through still images, the assumption that time is moving is one the reader must make, that each panel is encapsulating a moment of time. The inclusion of dialogue and actions we can quantify through learned experience give the reader a more concrete sense of time moving. The characters set in this void of time show a well-defined set of rules, namely that everything is frozen in time unless he touches it, leading to a number of panels showing pages frozen while being thrown across a room. Though this could be improved through a clearer sense of Sasaki's movement through the still panels in the frame. What the series does highlight is the grueling and dangerous work ethic some companies put their artists and writers into. While Weekly Shonen Jump in particular, creators are expected to produce a 22-page chapter each week. While assistants do help to relieve this burden, the stresses put on the creators has led to many hospitalizations and in some cases death. This is also something addressed in Bakuman. Mashiro's uncle was a somewhat successful creator but passed away 3 years before the series begun due to stress. When Mashiro and Takagi get their first serialization, Mashiro ends up working himself to the point of collapsing and being admitted to hospital. Real-world creators such as Hiroshi Shiibashi, for Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, and Masashi Kishimoto, Naruto, have commented on their work schedules during their series' respective runs. Both creators state that they had to strictly manage their time, including the exact number of hours they slept, just to stay on target. In some points of the production cycle, Kishimoto only allowed himself 3 hours of sleep a day. The ultimate goal of the story is to save the life of a creator dedicated solely to their art, but pressured by the modern production cycle. The story even makes it clear that this isn't even the first attempt to save Itsuki's life from her overworking tendencies. Had the story carried on for a few more chapters, this is something that the story would have driven into somewhat more. However, the abrupt cancellation leaves Sasaki and Itsuki returning to their vicious creation cycle, though with somewhat more care to their own personal health. Given the story was published in Weekly Shonen Jump, the commentary on this pace may have seemed somewhat hypocritical had Time Paradox Ghostwriter had the time to address it. While the story is not groundbreaking, it does highlight some elements of content creation that creators should take notice of. While it's not the best story, I did end up going out and importing the original manga from Japan. Much to my annoyance, there is a new chapter in there that's not translated on the title, which means I am now going through and translating that myself, which is not easy. So yeah, if you're wondering why it takes me a long time to do anything, it's because I keep getting sidetracked. I hope you're all okay. Hi. I know it's been quite a long time. Mostly due to the fact that I've either been working on superhero project stuff, I've been extremely busy at work, and for the last year my health hasn't been great, but I'm working on it. Anyway, I know it's kind of last minute, but on Saturday the 28th, I'm doing a charity livestream with a bunch of other creators where we're hoping to raise $10,000 for Cancer Research Institute. We'll be playing Among Us, and for reference, my first time playing Among Us was 3 days ago when I hopped into a call with Linkara, Drake, PSM, and Imaginary Axis. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. Come along, cheer us on, help us raise some money, and maybe watch me suck at playing a game. Till next time.